Hello all 409 of you fellow poker junkies. Good to see you again. Time for Caffeine and Cards episode number 2. Got a good one for you today. Aces, we always like seeing those. We got an interesting hand and we're gonna get into it. Before we get into a hand and breaking it down, we gotta get our cup of coffee. Today we're gonna have a latte. And what I decided is that we're gonna start making something different each time. So instead of just having a regular cup of coffee, we'll do a little bit of experimenting. I'm not really a coffee guy, so I don't necessarily know my way around. I mean, I love coffee, but I don't know how to make fancy coffees myself, and we're gonna figure it out. Oh, this is a party foul right here. Party foul, party foul. Hold on, YouTube, hold on. All right, the coffee filter's been restored in a clean state now, nothing in there. So let's pour in our new grinds. Yeah! Close this thing up. And it's coffee time. We'll go with the rich brew. What does that do? Couldn't exactly tell you, but it makes it richer, faster, better, stronger. There's no pour brew on here, so we choose the rich brew every time. Our house has a couple of superheroes. This is just one of them.
Superhero.
What is your name again, superhero? I'm trying to remember. You just punch me? Might be a super villain. You just punched a good guy. We're gonna get some milk out and get this latte going. Okay, we gotta throw this guy into the microwave for about 30 seconds. Oh, look at that. Yum. All right.
Yay.
Sprouting dip. That's the stuff. All right, let's talk some cards. The reason I'm making these videos is so that basically there's value in having a text group that you can run hands by and say, hey, would you do this? What do you think? And I remember times, multiple times, where I had thought through the hand and thought, okay, I think I played it right. I've thought everything through. And someone would be like, well, why didn't you check raise here? Did you consider that? Nope, I sure didn't. And what's cool is that when you have a text group, you got a couple of people and you're going back and forth, you're getting a few opinions. But in this format, we can get just a huge community of people that are coming around and talking through a hand together, and that makes us all better poker players. So comment below with your thoughts, questions, feedback, whatever you have, and let's talk this one through. All right, I happen to be at the table for this hand, so I have a little more insight than I normally would. I'm playing at the table with Nadden. Nadden's to my right, and he opens with red aces in early position. I fold 5 callers at the table, so not ideal. And we're going to a flop with $90 in the pot. The flop comes down the jack of clubs, 7 of diamonds, deuce of diamonds. Nadden leads for 40, and I think I would bet a little bit larger here in this spot. I would probably shoot for 55-ish. Gonna go a little over half pot because there's so many players, and I think that a flush draw or a jack is going to call. And really, if you get blasted off of this hand with a huge raise here, you're gonna expect it to be a set most of the time. And since you have red aces with the nut flush blocker, you're probably not gonna expect the flush draws to be raising much. So he gets 1 caller and in late position. Goes to the turn. The turn is another jack. So now we have jack of spades, jack of clubs, 7 of diamonds, deuce of diamonds. And Nadden decides to slow down and check. His opponent now bets $80 into the pot. The second jack is not ideal, and his most likely holding here is some kind of a jack. So when he bets $80 into this pot, I think you can pretty well confirm that he's got a jack, maybe occasionally has diamonds, though I was at the table and can say this player is not really the type to get bluffy with a flush draw, at least from what I've observed. So Nadden decides to make the call. I think I'm actually exploitatively going to make the fold here, because if we don't improve and we check and he bets again, now we've given up the $80, we're gonna feel pot committed, and we have basically the same choice we do right now. So we almost have an all-in situation if our opponent decides to keep going, which they're probably going to keep betting when we check to them on the river. So in a spot like this where we have a tight opponent who's not really bluffing a flush, he has a jack and calls, hits another jack and decides to now bet. It makes a lot of sense where his hand's at. I think he has the jack, and I'm actually just gonna let this hand go here if it was me. Nadden decides to make the call, and we go to the river. Now the river comes in the 8 of diamonds. So the flush comes in, and this is why I wanted to review this hand, because I think this is a play that not many of us would make. Nadden looks at the board, realizes that he has the nut flush blocker, and decides to jam all in to see if he can get his opponent to fold. And even then, like, I don't know that he's gonna fold often enough for this to be the right play, but the opponent is tight, and so for that reason, I can see it. The coolest part about this is that I just think the majority of us holding aces in this spot are just gonna check and try to get to showdown. But Nadden recognizes the spot that he's in and decides to make the bluff all in. His opponent ultimately, after thinking for quite a while, decides on a fold, and so this does get through, and he turns over the jack to show it. Ultimately, good on you for making a unique play, for thinking it through in a way that most of us wouldn't, and congrats on a nice win there. Kind of got yourself backed into a corner and found a way out, and I think that's pretty cool. All right, guys, we want to hear from you. Leave those comments and that feedback down below. Sub it and like it if you love it, and I will see you next time.